Well, hi there, I'm Caleb Jones, and this is Alpha Male 2.0, freedom-focused lifestyle design for men. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We do 5 videos a week here on how to make your business life and your woman life more free. Let's talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So in this video, what I will do is I will go through my experience with Bitcoin and other cryptos. It's been very, very good. I will describe what my opinions are, because I get a lot of emails about this, a lot of questions on whether or not they make sense, whether or not something to invest in, whether or not you should bother with it. And then at the end of the video, I will talk about how they plug into an Alpha Male 2.0 financial model, because I don't just teach invest in anything. There's very specific models you need to follow to maximize your long-term freedom in your financial life as an Alpha Male 2.0, so I'll talk about that. So, Bitcoin and cryptos. I bought Bitcoin, I don't remember the exact year. It was many, many years ago. I was not an early adopter. I'm not one of these guys who bought Bitcoin at like, 25 cents a Bitcoin. That'd be fun. Or $1. I wasn't one of those guys. That was back in like 2010. I want to say it was maybe 2015, 16, somewhere in there I started buying Bitcoin. I don't really remember when I started. I have to go look this up. By the way, the numbers I'm about to give you in terms of my experience with Bitcoin, don't nitpick them. They might not be exactly right. They might be a little off, because we're talking about three and a half years ago now in terms of when this really happened with Bitcoin, at least for me, but they're close enough. So I bought in at Bitcoin starting several years ago up until 2017, which I'll talk about in a second. And I bought in at a weighted average of $1,900 per Bitcoin. Let me make that zero a little better. I gotta learn how to write. 1,900 bucks or so. That's about right. Now that is a weighted average. And weighted average, if you didn't know, that means that when you're buying into an investment at different price points, the actual average of your buy-in is what they call the weighted average. So the Bitcoin that I owned was $1,900 in terms of what I paid for it. Now I didn't buy all my Bitcoin at $1,900 per Bitcoin. Some I bought at $1,500, some I bought at $1,700. A lot I bought at like $2,200 and $2,300. But if you did the weighted average of what my actual buy-in was when you factor all those different buy-in points, it was around $1,900 or so, back several years ago. Now, it was fine. I bought a bunch of this stuff. I also bought some Ethereum, and I bought a few other things. And then 2007 happened, the end of 2007. And for those of you who know, you know where I'm going with this. That is when the bubble occurred in Bitcoin. That is when the boom occurred in Bitcoin. And the reason I bought Bitcoin, not because I thought it would go to $1 million. I could just see the writing on the wall that this is going to go somewhere. This is, the Bitcoin nerds might be right. This might be something that is, gains in value and people get excited about. And I was right. So what happened around the end of December in 2017, if you remember, Bitcoin went to $20,000. Now, it didn't go all the way to 20, I think 19,000 something, right? By the end of December, it was at $20,000. So here's what I did. I follow my own advice. I buy low and I sell high, which is the opposite of what most people do. So what do you think people were doing back in December of 2017 when Bitcoin started making national news, started skyrocketed $12,000, $13,000, $17,000, $20,000? What do you think people did? They bought. Stupid. That's not when you buy shit. You don't buy shit when it's on the way up. You buy shit when no one wants it. That's one of the reasons I am out of the stock market. I've been out of the stock market for years. It's a bubble. Why would I buy into that? That's also one of the reasons, by the way, that I've avoided buying any real estate last few years. Real estate's doing as of COVID, maybe not, but prior to COVID, real estate's been doing pretty well. So I didn't want to buy any real estate. I rent my house on purpose. I don't want to buy things in terms of investments when they're doing well. I want to buy them when they're terrible and everybody hates them. So when everybody was buying Bitcoin, guess what I did? I said, okay, it's time to get out. It's time to sell, because now everybody likes it and the value is going up. It's going crazy. So I sold at 17,000-ish. That's when I sold. So if you think about this, let's erase that. I bought in at 19. I sold at 17,000. I made a lot of money. I made a lot of money. I mean, how can you not make money? I'm not going to tell you how much I was invested, because I can't tell you that stuff. But I had a decent amount invested in Bitcoin. So this trade at the end of December, whenever I sold, I don't remember the exact date, but it was the end of December. So I didn't sell at the peak. The peak was 19,000, right? It was 19K, and I sold at 17. And there was one guy saying, oh, you missed out. No, I didn't miss out. Look how much money I made. Now let's go further into this. So what happened the very next month in January? What happened to the value of Bitcoin? It crashed down to $4,000. Well, let's write this correctly. $4,000. $4,000. So it went from 20K to 4K within a month and a half. So by, I think, February of 2018, it was 4K. And all the Bitcoin nerds were screaming and crying. All the people who bought in as it was going to 20K said, Bitcoin sucks, it's a bunch of bullshit, it's a scam. No, Bitcoin doesn't suck. You're just stupid. You bought when it was exciting. You bought when everyone else bought. You bought when it's on the way up. That's not when you buy. It's your fault. Now, here's something else I did. When I sold at 17,000, I didn't sell it all. I sold 90% of it. I kept 10% of it in there. Because I thought about, well, what if the Bitcoin crazy guys are right? What if Bitcoin goes to $1 million a Bitcoin? What if it goes to $100,000 a Bitcoin? That could happen. I don't think it will happen, but it could. I'll talk about that in a little bit. So I kept about 10% of the money I had in Bitcoin. I left it in there. I took my profit, threw a big party, it was very fun. And then I left the rest in there. Now I'll tell you what happened to that in a second. Something else happened here. I didn't make just the money on this trade. I made a lot more money. What happened in August of 2017, around August or so, is we had what was called the Bitcoin Cash fork. What happened in 2017, around August, September, August, somewhere in there, is that Bitcoin Cash was created. So if you had, let's say, $10,000 in Bitcoin, all of a sudden you had another $10,000 in Bitcoin Cash. It duplicated whatever you had. So suddenly you had this money just appear in one of your wallets. It was awesome. What was happening to the price of Bitcoin at that time? It was going up. It was skyrocketing. So what happened to the price of Bitcoin Cash? It also skyrocketed. So I had a large amount of money in Bitcoin in 2017. All of a sudden one day I woke up, looked at my wallet, I had this mountain of money there that was just free because of the Bitcoin Cash. I left the Bitcoin Cash in there. They both accrued in value. So as Bitcoin went to its 20K, Bitcoin Cash also rose and my Ethereum also rose. So most cryptocurrencies, at least in my experience, and I'm no expert, but most cryptocurrencies tend to follow Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up, other cryptos go up. If Bitcoin goes down, usually other cryptos go down. Not always. I am not, by the way, I should say this. I am not a cryptocurrency expert. I'm not a Bitcoin expert. I'm sure there are some of you in the, matter of fact, I know. There are some of you in the audience who know a lot more about Bitcoin than I do. I'm just a guy, I've said this before, I'm just a guy who does a lot of research, takes action, and has done well with his investments. So just keep that in mind. I'm not a professional or anything. I'm just telling you what I've done. So when I did this in December, when I sold all this Bitcoin, I also sold pretty much all my Bitcoin Cash and pretty much all my Ethereum, 90% of it. So I didn't just make money one way. I made money on the Bitcoin, I made money on the Ethereum, I made money on the Bitcoin Cash fork, and what else? No, that's it, those three ways. So I made a lot of money. A lot of money. I was very, very happy. As a matter of fact, in 2017, because of this, primarily because of this, but because of some other stuff that happened in 2017 with my other investments, I actually more than doubled the size of my entire investment portfolio. My return for 2017, I talked about this in one of my blogs, was 103% for the year, which means I more than doubled my entire portfolio. Not bad. A lot because of this. Okay? So, it went to 4K in early 2018. Everyone said, Bitcoin sucks, Bitcoin sucks, Bitcoin sucks. So did I buy more Bitcoin? No. Maybe I should have. Probably should have, but I didn't. I said, no, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to see what happens because I have a feeling Bitcoin is, in a few years, Bitcoin's going to come back up again. So guess what? Where is Bitcoin right now? As of the date that I record this video, Bitcoin is over $9,000. So my $4,000 is now up to $9,000 in the Bitcoin that I saved, as well as the Ethereum that I saved, and I even kept some Bitcoin Cash. Not sure why I still have that shit. I should probably dump it, but anyway. So my Ethereum is up, my Bitcoin Cash is up, and my Bitcoin is up, all from early 2018. But even if it had stayed at $4,000, remember, I bought in at $1,900. So I was perfectly happy at $4,000. Pretty nice. So these are the kind of things you can do as long as you follow the fundamental rule of investing. Actually, the second rule, the main rule of investing is don't lose money. I don't like to lose money. But the big rule of investing in terms of after that is buy low, sell high. If everyone is excited about it and you're hearing about it from all your friends and you're hearing about it in the news and everyone's excited about, oh my God, it's going crazy. The stock market's going crazy. Bitcoin's going, whatever it is, real estate, I don't care, silver, gold, whatever the fuck it is. It's jamming up in value. That's not when you buy it. That's when you fucking sell it. And that's what no one does. You buy it when it crashes. So if you were smart, when would you have bought Bitcoin if you hadn't jumped on it really early? You would have bought it here, early 2018, at 4,000, when everyone was getting out, saying, this sucks. That's when you should have bought. You should have bought a lot. Because today you more than doubled your money. Just in 2 years. You see how this works? Now, in terms of my opinion of where Bitcoin is going, hey, Caleb, is it too late to get into Bitcoin? I get a lot of these emails. No, I don't think it's too late to get into Bitcoin. I think this valuation at $9,000 is going to go up. Do I think that Bitcoin is going to be $1 million a Bitcoin or $100,000 a Bitcoin or $75,000 a Bitcoin? My short answer is no, but it's very possible. So I would give it, this is my rough guess, and again, I'm not an expert, so take this with a grain of salt. My rough guess is that there is a 40% chance of Bitcoin taking off and doing something amazing, like going to 50,000 or 70,000 or 100,000. I don't think it will, and because it's less than 50%, it's not likely to, in my opinion, but it could. 40% is still decent. I said throughout 2016, during the Donald Trump-Hillary Clinton election, when everyone in the news was saying, there's no way Donald Trump can win, I said, and you can go look at my blog posts, they're still up there. I said, no, he has at least a 40% chance of winning. Yes, the odds favor Hillary, but 40% isn't bad. And as you know, he made it. He made that 40%. So it's worth it to me to bank on that 40%. Maybe something does happen. So you could buy Bitcoin right now. You don't have to buy $9,000 worth. You can buy whatever you want. You can buy fractions of Bitcoin. That's the great thing about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Caleb, what about other cryptocurrencies? I don't really know, but I would say that Bitcoin is probably not going to be a de facto currency standard, especially if it does well. If Bitcoin is $100,000 a Bitcoin, are you going to use it to buy something on Amazon? No, you're not going to do that. No one else would. You'd be insane. So I am leaning more in the direction of things like Ethereum, maybe Litecoin, Dashcoin, some other stuff. I'm not sure. I don't know. I have bits and pieces of all these cryptos. I have Bitcoin too. And again, Bitcoin kind of sets the stage for what happens with other cryptocurrencies. This is a very big topic and I'm not an expert. I would recommend that you go on YouTube and look around at some guys who are Bitcoin nerds who know all about this stuff and do your own research. Now, let's talk about how this fits within an Alpha Male 2.0 financial management model, because you don't just invest in Bitcoin because Bitcoin's exciting. Bitcoin is an investment. It's actually a speculation. I'll talk about it in a second. So that means that you don't invest in it if you have debt. I've talked about this in my courses. I've talked about this in my blogs, my books, my videos. You do not invest in anything if you have debt. If you have credit card bills, student loans, you owe your parents money, credit cards, you have a car payment, fuck. You should not be investing in anything. All the money that you would invest, you need to pay down your debts and get debt free. I have no debt. Zero, none. I sleep very well at night. One of the big reasons why this coronavirus stuff has not affected me at all is because I don't have any debt. It's awesome. It's like a superpower these days to not have any debt. Pay off your debt. When you pay off your debt, then you need to get an emergency savings account. You have 6 to 12 months of emergency savings, of expenses, somewhere liquid, somewhere you can access it very quickly so that you're covered in an emergency. Another reason why I didn't have to worry is because I have a lot of emergency savings. Then as step 3, you invest. Then you can start looking at real estate or Bitcoin or silver or ETFs, where the fuck you want to do that. You don't do that before then. You don't invest when you have debt. There's no point. Here's the question. If you have debt and you invest something, would you go to a bank and borrow money just to put it into an investment? Would you do that? If the answer is no, there's no point in investing if you have debt. Pay off your debt first. Also, if you don't make enough money, there's no point in putting something in Bitcoin if you don't make a lot of money. I get guys who make like $35,000 a year saying, hey, Caleb, should I invest in Bitcoin? No, you make $35,000 a year. You know where your money should go? Once you paid off your debt and put it into savings, it should go into your business. Build your Alpha 2.0 business. Start making money there. Then put money into Bitcoin. Now, I've talked about this. There are investments and there are speculations. An investment means you put money in something relatively boring and safe to make an average return. 4, 5, 6% return. Not very exciting, but very safe. That's an investment. Bitcoin is not that. Bitcoin is highly volatile. You could lose your ass in Bitcoin, just like people did back in January of 2018 where it went from 20 to 4,000. A lot of people lost their asses because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Bitcoin is dangerous. So Bitcoin is a speculation, not an investment. A speculation means you might make a lot of money and you could lose it all. I know that 100% of the money I have invested in cryptos right now, I could lose it all. It could all go away tomorrow morning. I don't think it will, but it could. It could. In 5 years, it could all be worth 0. Matter of fact, there are some very intelligent people who think this. There are some very intelligent people I respect, who are very knowledgeable about these things, who think that all cryptocurrencies will eventually go to zero, and what will change the world is blockchain, which is the technology under cryptocurrencies rather than the cryptos itself. Possible. I don't know. So it's a speculation, so you have to be very careful. You don't put all your money in Bitcoin. I have talked last year, or late last year, talked to a guy, he was telling me he just put $230,000 into Bitcoin. I wouldn't do that. Unless you're worth millions and millions and millions, that's a very small percentage of your portfolio, then fine. But he wasn't. I wouldn't do that because you could lose it all. That shit could go to $1,000 tomorrow morning. It could. Bitcoin's done shit like that. So you have to be very, very careful and do it when it makes sense. If you want more information on this and investing and managing your financial life as a free Alpha Male 2.0, join smic.com. See you in a little bit. Bye.